What's up, everybody? Midjourney Fast Hours podcast, episode 55, the week after Halloween. We're back. Rory Flynn, Drew Brucker. Let's get this out of the way up front. Go ahead and like and subscribe and tell your mom, your friends, your grandma, your dog, your cat, you know, anyone? any weird
house cleaner,
anyone or anything. How about that? Just cover the
dog
bases.
Walker, if you have
dog
any of
walkers.
those.
Need love too. So
someone that you see on the subway or on the train or on just riding your bike, just like,
let them know.
That's us.
Just let them know.
I mean, I should check this thing out.
55 episodes in, Rory Flynn. I mean, I was just talking to my wife about it last night. I was like, I can't believe 55 episodes in. I mean, we've been doing this for a year and a half. It's been a long journey. It's flown by at the same time. It feels like we've been doing this much longer than that.
Yeah.
Yes. And I feel like we've talked about so many things. Obviously, like if you guys have joined us recently, right? Like we kind of keep you up to date with Midjourney. We talk through sort of like the changes, the updates, the things that are coming. And then we also couple that with sort of like the broader picture of things happening in the AI visual space. But just a reminder, there are some super deep dives in the earlier episodes where we go into like the thick of it, where we go into levels that not a lot of people go into in these specific, you know, all the parameters, how to use each one, micro decisions that we make, you know, prompt theory and structure, like so many good things. So just want to throw that out there. Reminder that those things are still out there, still very relevant. So go ahead.
We should also say that when we started doing this, there wasn't a new major release from every tool every 5 days. It was like we could go a couple weeks without something really happening, and we'd like touch on it. But that's when we were deep diving, and it's like now this is like real time what it's like with Drew and I trying to keep up with everything while we do this professionally, and then trying to also like continue to bring content here because there's so much to talk about. And it's like we used to just be like, we might go 6 weeks without something major. Now there's you don't go 6 weeks without anything. You don't go 6 days without something major. And everything got good. Like that was the thing. It was
everything
like other stuff everything was mediocre, and now it's good.
A lot more people talking about it. I mean, like at first it was just a select few people talking about it. I mean, all those things were true. As in tradition, we always like to lean into Midjourney first. So maybe we start there. There's not a lot of changes or updates since the last time we talked. Rory, something, and maybe we just touch on kind of like what happened with office hours and then what's coming next week, because they did say there were some things coming next week. And then we kind of zoom out. We can talk about some of the other things that are happening in the mix. So
let's do it. Let's see what's going on in Midjourney verse.
Let's do it. So office hours this week, a little bit different. So in case you guys ever want to check out office hours, this happens every week on Wednesday. I think it's noon Pacific time, 3 Eastern Standard Time. I don't know where in the world you are, so just kind of adjust accordingly. But that's available and open to anyone if you want to, get in there and access that. They're streaming that both on X through the Midjourney account, and they're also doing it in Discord for the OGs. So you can access it either way. This week was a little bit different though, because they invited like their developers on, and we're leading it. And so it was a little bit different of a format, a little bit different questions coming in, a lot of people asking and just kind of suggesting bug fixes or do this, could you do that, blah, blah, blah. One of mine that I've been thinking about a lot lately is just like an easy way to like photos in the create screen. Mm-hmm. So like if I'm just creating something, you can right click and like, but honestly, this is going to sound very like complaining of me. That's too much work. I don't want to right click and do that. I just want to be able to just click, boom, 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 boom. Because a lot of times you'll find yourself in this sort of screen here. And I love when they added this, subtle and strong variation here. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But I think, just adding that would be a huge, huge fix. But there were a lot of like things like that. People asking about, hey, could you do this? Could you do that? The developers were making notes of those things. There's really not much else to say besides that. I would say maybe the one thing, Rory, that was interesting for us and the audience is this one right here, where we're just talking about active development of web profiles in the new style tool creator system. No immediate releases expected this week. So that was on Wednesday. Multiple feature drops and updates anticipated for next week. Okay. So next week sounds like a week where we might have something and we'll be able to talk about it and share it with you guys next week on the podcast. So that's kind of where we're at there. I mean, like very, very short. The office hours just was very, question, voice oriented, very conversational with the dev team. So it wasn't your typical sort of office hours that you might get with the depth and with David and sort of like the more, I would say, like interesting topics. It was more or less like, what's on your mind? What have you been wanting? What's not working well? Blah, 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 blah. But
that's good because they've been, I feel like the last release was really like style creator. I mean, or style explorer. That feels like a while ago. It was probably like
it does feel like a while ago now. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's they were on like a rapid pace after V7, and it was something every week, and they were being talked about all the time. So I think it's probably time that they kick that back up because it's got to be. They've been working on something, right? Like have to at least because it's been a while since when was V7 released? I don't even remember. It was
when was V7 released? We need to go back and
June, something like that.
God, maybe? No. Has it been? No. Has it only been June?
Well, let's see.
I feel like it's been longer than
quick
that.
Look. When was Midjourney V7 released? I don't know if you're using. I don't know if you're using any of the AI browsers. I really like Comet now for April 3rd, 25. Okay, so it was April.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
so it's about time.
So I mean, if they don't do 7.1 and they go to V8, by the time V8 it'll be basically 10 months.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a long time for a model. I mean, considering the way they were moving before.
They've added a bunch of stuff, right? Like it is what those micro updates that kept us happy for a long time. There's a few things I feel like I'm confused about what comes next. I'm interested. I'm probably the most interested outside of V8 in the new like UX UI. Like how much is that going to change? Like am I going to have to relearn a lot of stuff, or is it going to be relatively simple? They've never had a problem with how they've done it, but just curious of what that's actually going to look like because there is a lot of stuff now. It's just, this does feel like there's other tools where it's just like you prompt and hit enter, and this one is like it feels like a whole creative studio in here now, which isn't a bad thing. I'm just curious how they're going to organize it.
Yep. Yeah, I think I'm super, super curious about the UI stuff. I mean,
yeah,
because, a lot's changed in terms of like a workflow with how people are generating images now, even videos, right? So how does Midjourney adapt to that? And typically when they touch something, they'll give you like a V1, but then they won't come back to it for a while, if ever. So I hope it's good enough, right, to accommodate for more of like the workflow efficiency, connecting the dots without jumping over to different tabs or screens and this and that and the other, or even tools, and just kind of pushes things forward in that next phase for us.
So here's what's interesting, right? What has Rory been complaining about for the last couple weeks on this podcast with Midjourney is that number one, we just need something that's like Nano Banana. If you look at this leaderboard here, how many of those problems are solved by a tool like that? Have great multiple.
That also came up in one of the questions, and that was one of my questions the previous week on Office Hours too. So I really hope that is the case because you're right.
So
right? Look at this:
multiple angles of a character, pose of a character, coherent or improve. Multiple consistent characters. More advanced facial expression controls, multiple consistent characters at the same time, all things that Nano, Seed Edit, Reeve, ChatGPT even, which not as quality, but like
Yeah,
for
you're right.
context, like
You're
all
right
these
though.
things that they can do already. So that's what everyone wants. So just build it. If anyone's listening, not just not like
Interesting.
I'm saying, bro, just go build it in 5 seconds. It's just like that's what the market wants. That's what we all want. It's it's a very simple because it's not like oh it doesn't have to be like the anti-marketing thing. Like we don't want marketing and businesses in here. It's just like people want to tell stories. They want to be able to play with their characters and they want to play with their environments and they want to be able to do
And
it,
ultimately, you want people to use it the way they
not
want to
jerry
use
rig
it
it.
too. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So I mean, you
So
can't totally control that. I forget this is in here. I need to go back in and start rating some of these things again. It's been a long time.
yeah.
This is in tasks. Anybody can access this.
Oh
Scroll
wait,
down.
go back one
Community rate
second.
ideas.
Hold on. I was gonna say, did that say world building in there? I saw a little thing that said world building because I was thinking about that. Remember that release? I forget when it was. Like their little, it was like I forget what they even called it. It was like patchwork or something,
Patchwork.
maybe. Yeah, like it's like that just disappeared. That was like a quick, yeah, that was a quick flash in the pan.
Yeah, I
But
think
it was on the
they
same
pivoted.
track.
Yeah.
It was on the right track, right? Like that's where everyone's ending up now, right? Is that sort of like one step to the next in a visual space or a canvas, right? Like that's sort of like the idea. We'll touch on
Yeah.
that later.
Yeah, I think like some of this stuff too is I feel like right some of this stuff is already doable. It's just the problem is it's not very fun and easy or accessible to do, right?
Uh huh.
Um
Input a scene images to create images in that scene. Sounds like an
yeah,
email thing.
or even advanced
Word
facial.
vents.
I mean, you can get
Yeah.
great facial expressions if you actually do it. Most people
Yeah.
don't do it.
Uh
Uh,
huh.
I just did a whole post on that. People just don't do facial expressions. I
Yeah.
never see it.
It's
But
one
they
of
can
those
be
things.
done. I mean, it's not perfect. I will say that there are some that just don't work that you would hope would work, but there are plenty that do work.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I can maybe show this really quickly, but that's always one that I'm focused on. Which is that in here or here? I think it's in this one. I
Expression. There
mean,
you go.
you can get these all day, right? Like it's just people don't do it. People don't do it. Um, and
And you get
if
the
you
flat
don't
face.
have these ideas, just go, a couple prompts with an LLM, you can get plenty of ideas to test. And then test which ones work, right? Like keep the prompt
Yeah.
maybe simple at first just to see if it's going to get it. And then that gives you then the freedom or the sort of accessibility to be like, okay, now I'm gonna like work this into a longer prompt because I do know that it works, right? So
Yeah.
that would be my advice when you're testing any of this stuff is like start with a very simple prompt coupled with what you're testing. See if it works first, then you can sort of play with the fact that it can be included in a longer, more detailed or more complex prompt.
Totally. 100%. I think that's like I said, like if you look at all these things that people want, also it's just like I want to be able to save an image that like not save in terms of like download. Like if I like an image but it didn't have the facial expression, right? Like I really like it. Like I just want to be able to edit that exact image. Like I don't want to go and try to recreate it and get it and run gen over and gen over and gen over to get the same thing. It's like I just want to do what I do with Nano or Seed Edit or any of those other ones, Seedream. Just like do something with this exact thing. Like don't reinvent the wheel. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. Just want to change the facial expression of this person. That's it.
Yeah.
Change the color of this car. That's it. Like that's it sounds very
It's time,
snotty of
dude.
me.
It's
Yeah,
time though.
it is.
Because remember we were force feeding things in. Remember we would go like into, you'd go into like an image and you'd be like, okay, let me edit this and you know
Image reference in a red jacket,
yeah, I
and
was
then like
just about to say, I was like
yeah,
gonna say like image reference it in or whatever you got to do, text reference plus the image like weight it, and play around with the different weights. I mean, it's just like it's time, man. It's time.
I like the precision control, Like I like that we have all the parameters and all the things. I just want like for certain things where it's just like, make that guy smile instead of instead of
Yes, just
you
quick
know what I
on
mean?
the fly adjustments.
I know
I would say
Remix
that's
can
got to
do
be the
that kind of
number one,
stuff,
right?
but
That's got to be the
yeah,
number
but
one thing you would want right
that's
now.
it. That's all I want. Then
Yeah.
then it's like why do I need to go anywhere else? Right? Like that's it. Just take this, do this with it. That's all.
I I also will say this. Like if you need more fast hours, don't sleep on this. I mean, like go into tasks. I would say you could rank these new style grids or images, do like 50 to 100 and you're going to get a free hour. Easy. I mean,
Yeah.
how simple is that? You know what I mean? Like don't sleep on that either. It's just like boom, okay, like, go through and do that. So if you're, forgetting these things, it's just important that like a lot of people stop doing this. So you don't really need to do that many in order to get these free hours. So maybe just something to keep in mind there too.
Good point. My complaining is done for today, by the way. That was just me. I had to get it out.
Hey, you know what? I'm not complaining too much because after that last week and figuring out that I can use my personalization codes from V6 on V7, I haven't looked
Uh,
back, brother. I haven't looked back. Ooh,
we're looking for it. I like it. That was a good one. That was a good unlock, and I have been using my old ones again. And I'm like, thank you, thank you for this wonderful gift that you've provided to me.
incredible. Well, you want to zoom out a little bit too? Like, I don't know if there's much else. Is there anything else that you want to talk about? Maybe really, really specifically into Midjourney. Remind anybody of. I mean, there's nothing really new here at the moment.
No, I think let's zoom out a little bit. I like that. I like that phrasing. You need a sound
Do a
effect
pinch.
for that.
Yeah, man. Where you want to start? Because I know that we were talking about a few things before we jumped on here. Is it maybe we want to start with the node based phenomena?
Let's talk about the node revolution as to what's been going on. I think
Give us, hey, will
going
you
back.
give us the Emancipation Proclamation of the node based phenomena that's going on right now?
It's it's sort of like what I've always wanted, but never knew how to ask for it because it's just I can use everything all at once in the same space, and I just see it. Like I don't know. I like Midjourney's like in addition like to in regards to like other platforms, right? Like Midjourney versus others. I like creating in Midjourney the best, like from just a pure usability standpoint, right? If I'm doing one thing, which is like images and videos, right? Just because it's easy, it's fast, it's I know it really well. Nodes the other is like I can see it all, which is what I like too. I don't have to scroll through like to find stuff. It's like all there. It's like if I'm putting all my ingredients on the table and then making a meal with it, right? I can see. That's why I personally like it, but also it's just like the branching realities of things plus sort of like history tracking, if that makes sense. Like going back to things and like it's not. If anyone's familiar with designing in Photoshop, right? Like you can design one image, right? And you do work on one image at a time, and then you can when you had to like go you wanted to go test something, you had to like wrap up all your design layers into a folder, duplicate the folder, unvisualize it, and then work on the new thing. And if you didn't like, you had to unclick that and go. It's just like a really clunky process to like
Yeah,
to test different things. So
yeah.
yeah, I like dragging some nodes and saying like go this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. And if they all suck, I can just delete them and go back and start from that image again, right? So I think it's just like people. I think it's very familiar to people, like in terms of like how they actually create, like visually. It's
Yeah.
like here's where I started, here's where I go, here's where I keep going. Oh, let me try this. No, that didn't work. Like that's sort of like the creation process in general. You never just go
Now,
like, here's my paragraph, enter, go. That's it. So
this is something that we've been talking about a little bit now. We've seen this mass like rush to implement this into existing tools, right? Like Runway in there. Like so backing up, right? This was comfy UI by itself or seemingly by itself for a long time, but it was just so intimidating. It's so complex, probably overkill for a lot of people. Very like intimidating in the sense that it wasn't really early adopted by this larger base yet. So it just kind of felt like this niche thing and a different way to do it, but didn't feel necessary at the time, at least from my perspective. I'm just going to speak about my perspective. And then you started
Early
to get
days
these
you
other
needed locally too. That was the other thing. Was early days you needed to run it locally, so you also had to have the hardware to do it. So it wasn't
Okay,
like
there you go.
cloud based, or like you had to have like a decent my Mac could not handle it back in the day. So my
Interesting.
MacBook
Okay, so I didn't
Pro.
know that part. So that's interesting. And then
Yeah.
you had right the Floras, the Weavies, right? That then I felt like made it way more accessible, less intimidating, lowered the learning curve a little bit. Like still a learning curve, but like enough to get more people in there and
Hmm.
experimenting and trying, right? Because I think there is like this barrier that if it's too high, people just you got to be in this right mindset to knock, to go over or knock down the barrier. And if it's
Yeah.
too high, people aren't going to come back. You know what I mean? And so like I
Hmm.
feel like with Flora and Weavy and like tools like that, they did a really good job of making that accessible. And then they had, people that were on it early like you that were really like just breaking it down, sharing, how you can sort of like make this a workflow and what that actually means in terms of like scaling and efficiency and blah blah blah, right? And not having to have, again, like to maybe like Krea's credit, the idea that you could then aggregate all these tools in one place and you don't have to have all these separate subscriptions, right? And this can be a very costly thing. So like there's been this whole evolution. Now you've got, like I mentioned, Runway's got, playing this game now. Adobe, we talked about last week, is playing the game now. Freepik is playing the game now, which I love Freepik. Then
Yeah.
you've got Krea in beta right now
Yep.
for this. And Rory, this could be fun maybe because I haven't been in Krea yet, but I do have access to the beta. So maybe I could share as we walk through this, and then you can sort of like narrate some of what you've seen so far, or maybe even share what you've got.
Yeah. I have some good stuff. It's also just to like before we get into this, I wanted to I just wanted to say something. Like overall general, I feel like the AI it was like this is like an organic sort of like way for everything to come together if that makes sense, right? Like where early on there was a few tools that we were like sort of that were like fighting for position, which was okay, if you like image generation, it was like Midjourney or Stable Diffusion or Dolly, right? So you had to like buy the subscription. And then it was like
Yeah.
everyone went to that model, right? And everyone's like, okay, we need subscription. Now I have to have one to Runway and Midjourney. Now I have to have one to Runway, Midjourney, and Photoshop for Gen Fill, right? Like going back to those days. Then it just started to explode, and there was so many tools, and they were all good at doing different things that I think probably this is my guess. You tell me how you think about this from a business standpoint. That everyone's subscription started to shrink because they were spreading out to a more broader. Like it wasn't like the subscription numbers, daily active users, kind of things like that. It's broader. So then these tools, what do? They start releasing APIs so that you can
Yeah.
get like the residuals. Like, oh, if I'm not going to get subscription, then like wherever people are using the APIs, I'll get the API hit money. Then everyone had an API. So then you see like the rise of tools like Krea, Freepik, Higgsfield, all these tools to like aggregators so that people don't have to have a subscription to every tool. They can have one subscription and use them all, right? Then like it just became like what's the easiest way to use every single tool, and it feels like that birthed like okay nodes. Like you use them all in one space. You can use every single one. You just do it the way you want to do it, and like it doesn't have to be some prepackaged thing. So that's why, to me, it's like this natural progression of how it gets there, and it's all sort of based on like our problems, like too many subscriptions, too many tools, right? How do you solve that? You put them all in one tool, and then you make them all accessible in the same space without having to make it complicated. So that I just wanted to. I was
Totally.
thinking about this the other day
I
as to
think
how
that's
we
right.
got there.
I
So
think that's right. I think that's right. I'm going to
yeah.
add. I think I don't really have much to add, but I think you pretty much nailed it. The thing is that I'm also thinking about is you don't have to learn all these different website UI UXs, which is also a
Mm-hmm.
problem. I mean, for
Yep.
me, it's like I use tech every day. I'm in new tools, but that's also an exhausting process to figure out how things work on each different platform. And then if I haven't
Mhm.
been there for a while, have things changed and moved around? Like, that's a problem. So this solves that
Yeah.
problem. You talked about this. We've already, you and I have already talked about the subscription cost, the tab hopping. This also then, I think, allows now, if you don't have this, you're sacrificing memorability and stickiness with the product. You almost have to
Mhm.
have this now to be a sticky product, because
Yeah.
with the velocity of the changes that come through here, I mean, you'll be forgotten instantly if you don't have this, because this is going to be that way again, to just access all of the tools without the UI, like white labeled tools essentially in the same place. You don't have to log in. What's my password here? Do I have it saved? Oh my God, like I need to up my credits, blah, blah, blah. Did something move? I can't find it. Like, you don't have to worry about any of that shit. You know what I mean? So this is really interesting. And then I think just the last piece of it, right? Just everybody already knows this, but it's like every tool is good at something different. This solves
Yeah.
that problem, right? So
Yep. It
yeah,
makes us tool agnostic. That's sort of where I think it goes. Is right. You don't have to. It isn't like what should I choose between this tool A or tool B, and like which subscription, which one's better for what I need it for. It's like no more of that. You just use
just
whatever you
run them
have to
both at the
use to
same
get it
time,
done.
set up the separate.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, like, and Krea, to their credit, was onto this really early. They were just like, okay, we have our real time editor and a few other things. And then it's like, well, let's just start bringing everything else in. And they made it easy. And it was like, to me, they sort of like started the snowball effect here with the aggregator sort of sense. But I'm really liking their nodes. One thing to know about Krea Nodes that I will say is that they can do batch processing, which I think is a differentiator now in the node space. If you don't know what I'm talking about, meaning like, and maybe I'm not calling it the right thing, I just call it batch processing. Like if when you run in nodes, something like things like Flora and things like Freepik, they're super pretty, usable, easy. The one thing they can't do is batch processing, meaning I give it one prompt, it creates 10 more prompts, and then goes and creates 10 separate images. With things like Flora and Freepik, you can give it one. You can only give it one prompt, and then it can go create 10 images of that same prompt. It can't do variation. So because there's no splitting or like splitting function to actually like if you had an LLM, for example, like create 10 prompts, you can't like go into that LLM box and then create 10 different. I mean, you could technically, in theory, go and have something that goes and creates a prompt and then makes them all different. But like, there's no sort of cohesiveness in terms of like the LLM. So, complicated. You'll see. We'll go through. I'll show you what I mean.
Yeah,
Sorry for
yeah.
that complex rant, but
No, it's good, man. This is good because I think like, it's time we did a deep dive on nodes. I think this episode is going to be really depth focused on this node piece, right? So backing up to this screen, there are codes to get into the beta. So I would say maybe go on X, follow Krea. I think they were throwing around a bunch of codes. I was just looking. So I think like if you're looking for something, maybe do that. And then just like Weavy did, just like Freepik did, which we'll show too, you've already got some nice little, they're calling them blueprints or workflows that are already kind of set up for you. So my experience in learning this, two things. Of course, I reached out to my guy Rory, who spent like an hour with me, kind of like walking me through the basics. But one of the other great ways to learn this stuff, well, I'll give you a couple different ways to learn this stuff. But one of the best ways to learn this stuff is to click into these and just
yeah.
like reverse engineer them in your mind, right? Like actually break down what's going on here, right? So like let me zoom in on this. Okay, so we've got like an original product photo. They just added this photo in. Now let's like see what they're doing inside of here. Okay. So, they're basically taking this, well, they created this photo, it looks like in Krea. Here's the prompt for that, right? And they did this in,
Mm-hmm.
in nodes here. So right here. This is my first time looking at it. Looks like you've got some other settings here, aspect ratio, style, blah, blah, blah. Here's the option to run the node.
Or the
So you
workflow.
can
You can
run
do the
that.
whole thing.
Yeah, you can also run the whole thing, which basically connects all of those dots. But then they generated this, right? Then they basically opened up another thing. This is Nano Banana. You can see all the sort of like models here, and it's taking this, replace the sneakers with the teal colored ones, right? So then it took this original image, connected that over here, connected this here. So it's taking the pose, the background, everything about it, and is just swapping out the shoes, right? Then it's connecting this one again. Add a white title in a thin old school serif font saying "Run with Style." Just connecting the dots, right? Like it's all
Yep.
it is this dragging here to here, right? So that's
That's it.
all that's happening here, and then you have these other settings available here. This does look pretty sharp. I'm excited to like jump into this
It's
a little
fun,
bit
man.
further. And then they did this nice little before and after thing, which is pretty cool.
See,
So
I
they
like this little
did.
piece right here for the upscalers. I like the slider in the node. That's good. It's good little UX UI sort of piece right there.
Love
It's just
that. Super cool.
not available in any other tool. So that's a
So
cool
I
little
mean
one.
that's pretty sweet. And then like let me see if I can how do I oh here we go. Okay.
Settings.
So then we go here. What do we do here? We took this, isolate the sneakers, separate them, make them look like they're floating in the air. Okay, so this is like text prompt coupled with these shoes. They took this. They said, elegant product ad for two sneakers floating in midair. Sneakers should fly into the. Okay, so this is a video. So we can click this. Boom. Right. And you're just connected. Like it's just a simple connection. Right. So if you haven't used this yet, you're just dragging this here. You're going into settings. You're selecting the duration, blah, blah, blah. And I would say even here, like I just right clicked, this is where you would add, what you're going to use for this. So it looks like they've broken this out by image, video, et cetera, right? So they just did this, or maybe that's enhanced. So that's not actually it. That's for upscaling. Let me see.
You can also search through the nodes. You can just type in there too, up at the top, whatever you're
True.
looking for. Good one,
Let's
easy.
do, they got Higgsfield in here, for example, maybe.
Yep.
No,
Nope. They don't.
no
They don't have
Higgsfield.
Higgsfield.
Okay, they do have hell, yeah. Okay, so I mean, like you can select any of these. They have Sora 2 in here, blah blah blah. You would select that. That's going to give you this box, and then you're going to have the same option, right, with the settings. Based on the model you choose, it might have slightly different settings, but essentially you're just
Yeah.
connecting these things. And then Rory, like what makes this so great, and I know you can speak to this, which is just the ability to then change something very quickly and have it affect the entire workflow for scalability and efficiency. And maybe this isn't the exact best example here, right? But it's essentially like, hey, maybe I just want to swap out these shoes at the beginning, and maybe it does 80% of the work for me. I might have to go in and adjust like a few quick things. Maybe I want a different color, for example, or whatever on the background. But then it's like I can do all that. What's
So
really cool though are the deeper examples, which you and I have talked about, which is like, you're getting into something where you're talking about all the different camera angles too, right? Where you're getting these new shots and blah 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 blah
yeah,
blah. So
yeah. One thing to think about with like workflow building, right? When you look at this one, this workflow is very specific to this individual use case with these pair of shoes. So, like if you want to go and do this just to be like project wise, like I think there's two ways to think about this, like individual projects and then like building workflows. Like this is an individual project, right? Like you can't just drop in a different pair of sneakers and the whole thing runs how it should. Like a workflow would be like built a little bit more generic, if that makes sense. So I drop in any pair of shoes and then it does these steps regardless of what the shoe looks like. So, where they're saying like teal background and run with style, like those are all individual to this specific image. So if you're building a tool, you'd have to think about it a little bit differently, like a workflow to be
yeah,
utilized over and over again, if that makes sense, because it can't be so
that's a great
specific. It has
point.
to be generic,
It's
right?
it's specific but like flexible and versatile enough. So instead of
Yeah.
teal shoes, it's just like you're just saying shoes, right? And
Yes.
then maybe you've
Yes.
got another node box where it's just maybe that's where you would change the color, right? Or
Uh-huh.
you know, whatever it is. Or maybe that goes back all the way to maybe the system prompt that you have at the beginning that has it describe, you know, everything that's there based on that particular output or outcome that you're looking for, and then that makes the rest of the workflow a little bit more automated, right? Like that's what I've seen you do in the past too.
Yeah. So that's where we get into, and I can show. I went nuts on Krea for like 25 minutes
Oh
last
well,
night.
yeah, show it, man, because these are just the Korea examples. Let me stop sharing here.
Yeah, this was me like the first thing I went to with Krea. I was like, let me see if I can do batch processing, which I can. So I was pretty amped about that. Um, delete this and this here, but like this is me like, oh, I can take one image and then just create whatever from it, right? And I wanted to auto prompt it, and then I have actually this is a very unique feature for the video side of things, which I was liking too, but like essentially because you have like this, it's called an LLM call, meaning you can just use an LLM. But as you'll see in like the LLM call, it's basically going to generate. It's going to use like a custom GPT, right? Like I'm giving it a prompt, I'm giving it the input, like the image input, and then I have the system prompt, which is basically saying, analyze the image, try to create, the image as close as possible, make it as detailed as possible with a 200, 300 word range written in natural language paragraph, right? So up here, it'll create, once I run this, it'll create 10 prompts for this car. Like I didn't get, see how generic it is? Like I just saying 10 prompts of this image in action situations from different compositions, right? I could use this for any car now because I'm not saying which specific car it is. I'm just using it as car situations, compositions, and then it's coming
Yep.
up here like low angle tracking shot, twilight
You know, you could even say
hues
subject
drift.
instead of car, right?
100%. That makes
Like,
it really scalable, right? So that's the whole what I'm talking about making it generic. But this is the key piece, right? This is what Weavy has, this line splitter, which will essentially what it's saying is like every time there's a line break, like every time, okay, we have prompt one, and then let me see if I can expand this. Can I? I don't think I can. So like after prompt one, you see there's a paragraph and then there's a line break, right? So that's two. So that's how it knows with the line splitter what to split. So it's like,
yeah.
okay, prompt one, then all right, break, and then prompt two is a different one. So, I have this running to 10 different prompts, and then I actually ran these. I don't know if you've played around with. I really like Krea 1. It's not like it's not going to translate this one to one, but I do like some of the Krea 1 aesthetic. So like I just ran it to Krea 1 just because I wanted to check, just wanted to play with Krea 1 for a little bit to give it like basically image prompting. Nothing like not like using the same subject here. So these 9 were Krea, and then I used Seed Edit or Seedream to actually place the car in different situations, just running these and getting different examples, right? So
Yeah.
all of these are attached. Just I can do this all in one click now if I wanted to. Just
I was gonna say,
highlight the whole
do you
thing.
mind like running like, show these people too, like if they've never done this, like how do you then run all these images again? You know, like how do you create new variations of these really quickly?
Yeah. So if I wanted to run this whole prompt again, right, I just go and select the whole thing. See? And then see how it just says run nodes up here? Run nodes. And hopefully this works when we're on live. I don't know if it will, but
Boom, boom, boom. So
let's
everything's
see.
running. Like those, all of those images now that he's got there are generating, or they should be. That's the thought, and it's
Should be.
possible. I think you're doing that right. I would be my guess.
So
But
once this
that's
goes, then it'll
essentially
be
what we're
possible.
doing here. I mean, this is so going back to that really important point that you mentioned at the beginning, which is like making you're going to have maybe specific use cases to you, but if you make things a little bit versatile up front, now all of a sudden you don't, Rory doesn't have to go back and look at every single box, and update text and this and that. Now we know that it's versatile and flexible enough and specific enough yet vague enough to then just run this. And then hypothetically, right? I don't know how many images are here. Let me see, 24
I think
images maybe.
there's
If
24.
I can
Yeah.
still do math, which I was never good at math, but here we are. and you're not going to get 24 new images, right? And you don't lose the other images that you had. They're in there. They're scrollable, right? So like Rory, zoom into one. So you see 5 of 5. Those are all things he's already run in that. So you can try and test. Hey, can I get a better image than this? And blah blah
Yeah.
blah. But you don't lose what you've already created there. So it's there for you.
So this is like me running. So this is like Midjourney running permutations, right? Almost, but like at scale with much more differentiation, right? So like that's sort of like
Yeah.
the idea of here. But this is the cool part. This is again another. I think you can probably do this in Comfy, but you can't do it in most of the other tools. So here it's like I'm using the same sort of system prompt, except I'm saying create video prompts, and then I'm attaching the images for it can add up to 5 images here. So I attached 4 of them, so it's taking those 4 images individually, writing 4 prompts for them, and then creating videos automated, right? Based
Yep.
on the image itself and the system prompt. So system prompts basically saying, look at the image, write the prompt. Like
Yep.
that's basically it, right? So these are automated, so you never know what you're going to get. I didn't look at any of them before I ran it, but you can see like some of them not bad. Like this one's pretty
Is this a van?
impressive
Is this
stuff.
a Vans style? Is that what I'm picking
Yeah,
up on? These are van. Okay, yeah.
I just picked this. I saw this car on Pinterest. I was like, that's cool. I like the way
I
that
thought I
looks. Let me
thought I
just
saw
go
that.
play with it.
Hey,
But
too. One last point on that. When you were showing the videos, you know, they said that you could only connect 5 there, right? But like,
uh
you could then just go back and
duplicate it.
duplicate it, and connect 5 more, right, guys?
Yeah.
So like that's how this
Yep.
stuff works. You don't have to then go and change all those again. You just clone that whole little section, which Rory's shown you already, where you could just drag, clone it, and then just reconnect the new nodes, right, to the other 5 that you want. And all of a sudden, you went from 5 videos to 10 videos, right? Like all of this is sort of built out like that.
So this looks intimidating, right? Like this is very intimidating. This whole node situation. I built it in Weavy, and it can be very, it can be much stripped down, right? Like this is the same workflow, same system prompt, same everything. What's going on here is you have the image, your prompt, system prompt, same way it is here as image, prompt, system prompt, right? Once it runs, as you can see, like in the LLM here, same thing. It's just going to create 10 prompts for us. Then this goes to the array, which is to split each one of them based on in the individual prompts. They also have this thing called a text iterator in Weavy, which is like instead of doing it by the list format, you don't have to go and break out like into each individual. Like if I want to do like list selector, like if I want to do this, I don't have to go and create 10 of these to have 10 different prompts. You can just run it into you can just run it into one node, and they'll all generate, right? So if I just go, you know, hit run, it'll start to generate the 10 prompts that are already here. So this can be stripped back a lot, right? Which
Yeah,
I
so
think is
it doesn't look so overwhelming. Yeah.
yeah. Because then this is like if I'm building an app, right? Like or something to share with someone that they're just going to use it this way, right? Like this is so much easier now than
Yeah.
than doing it that way because let me just lock this up here. We'll make this app a little bit more visually aesthetic for everyone. So like this is what you can do on Weavy that the other things, other tools you can do this on Comfy. But like again, I could just hit run and then you're going to see it here. 20 are just going to happen at the same time just based on sort of what I asked for. And we'll get decent stuff that comes out of this. Basically, it's the same exact prompts from what's it called from Krea. It's just it's looks. Now I feel like this is what it comes down to, right? It's like who makes things look the best and who makes things the simplest. Because if everyone's got everything and you can do every tool on node based create, then it's like who makes the system the easiest and the cleanest, right? The most simple to use. So this is what I love about this thing. It's just awesome. But that's also radically different than Freepik, right? Like Freepik is also different. So have you tried Freepik's nodes yet
Haven't
or
tried it yet.
spaces?
I haven't
All right,
tried it, but
let's.
I've got it up. Let's get into it. Here's me with the cowboy hat. I had to show you that.
Oh, hold on, wait.
I felt like you needed to see it. These are fun, by the way, dude. I mean,
Wow,
like you can create any image you want in here. Like
professional.
I'm even taking some images that I'm doing for like clients, and then I'm like, hey, like what is the prompt for this? It's like more contrast, saturation, more analog film look, right? Like harsh flash type, like so. I mean, this is possibly something that you could scale in Spaces too, or Weavy for that, or Krea for that matter. It doesn't matter 'cause they all have Nano
Yeah,
Banana, right? But like when you like, this is a very big need too that I see from clients. It's like, hey, look, like this picture looks too perfect. I want it to like feel like somebody took it. You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like that looks significantly different than maybe what I had in there. But let's go to Freepik's piece here. I don't know the best way to get there other than going to all tools down here at the bottom, spaces, and then I
That might
open it
make
up
its
in
way
this
into our
tab.
thumbnail today. The cowboy hat Drew might make its way into the thumbnail. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Get my cowboy boots on, man. I've been rocking the boots lately. It's cowboy boots season, man.
Very, very impressive.
Going back to free pick, hey, loving the templates. Loving the
Yeah.
templates. I haven't clicked into these, but again, same deal, right? Like we were just talking about the nodes, the workflows, the blueprints or whatever Krea was calling them. I mean, you got the same thing here. So it's like, hey, is there something here that feels maybe relevant to what you would work on right now? And then again, like going in here
This is a
and
good one, by
taking
the
a
way.
look at
It's a
how
good
it was
template.
built.
This is a good template because this is also the differentiator now for Freepik, right? Like you can do a lot more in here, like a canvas style. Like it's not just nodes and creating. Like this is more like I can add text and like design it a little bit, and this can be like a collaborative space, which is also good from the Freepik side. Smart feature on their part, smart
Yeah.
design for this.
Yeah, this is my first time seeing it. So
Okay.
this is cool. All right. This is yeah, this does I mean this is really interesting. Okay. So you've got the nodes here as you zoom in. It's also got some information here.
Like you could share
Okay,
this as like a
references.
you can share this.
Yeah,
It can
this
be
feels like a
collaborative.
creative
Yeah.
brief.
This is what I have a feeling if you're going to try to interpret what Weavy and Figma looks like, this is probably going to be how it looks and feels in a very similar
Look at
way.
this. 3D
Yeah.
model and connect. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, it's just man, I just find it so fascinating to see how each of them kind of put their own
Yeah.
little spin on it. You know, super clean. I'm excited to play around with this. I think I made a case for this last week, but I like what Freepik's doing. I mean, I
Yeah.
really do. I think like the image generator thing is it's nice. Like the you can go like I'm on a plan. I think I pay 40 a month
Hmm.
and I'm paying month to month. I think I'm on this one. So like obviously it's cheaper if you were to just do an annual upfront payment. 40 a month and I get unlimited image generation on
Really?
Nano Banana for example or yeah.
Oh,
And so
I
and
didn't know
here's
that
the other
piece.
part. Like so that speeds up the process. Also when you're using Nano Banana so let's go here. Let me just show something really quickly. But you can also just like go ahead and click for on demand. So every time
Hmm.
I'm like, hey, make this, instruction, I'm prompting for some iteration it's going to generate all four,
Okay.
which is also nice, right? Because I get unlimited. So I could just hit that a couple times. And it's like, okay, if I got 8 iterations of that and it still didn't nail it, I probably need to tweak my prompt. I didn't get something right. I need to do something different, right?
Yeah.
Also, I mean, we're kind of getting a little bit of tangent here, but like, let's circle back to this. Nano Banana 2, I've been hearing rumblings coming this month.
Waiting for it.
So
I'm very excited. I'm wondering if it's just going to be like what Seedream. I've been really liking Seedream for this stuff. It's like really, I think Nano's better at nailing the product consistency and like object consistency and like person consistency. I feel like Seedream is better at like changing angles and like being a little bit more dynamic in terms of like visual aesthetic, but it also can produce in 4K, which is great. So, a lot of times it's really good. But
Yeah.
there's definitely some differences. I'm sure Google's right, got something up their sleeve as usual.
I mean, Nano Banana 2, probably VO4, maybe end of the year, before end of the year. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but like that would be crazy velocity what Google's doing right now.
The shift for that's massive. If I could release that quick, I'm sure they all got it. I'm sure they got Nano 2.5 in the pipeline. There's Nano 3, Nano 4. It's the way Midjourney is probably working on
Here you go too,
8.5 or
like
9.
just different, scenes of the same shoes with a different prompt, right? So you could, yeah, it's kind of interesting connecting those things. This is like a social media flow, create social media content, not super complicated, but these are just 3 different prompts, right? Leveraging this as an image reference essentially. And what is that? What is this? So they've got
This is like
copywriting
copywriting
instructions.
instructions. Yeah, going into an LLM to then write copy based on the images that are in there. So it'll probably write you 3 pieces of copy based on the
But
instructions.
where is that? Where
plus
is that
image.
input coming? Where is that input coming from though?
That right there. They're just writing it.
Oh,
They're just
this
giving
is
the
it. This is the
yeah.
okay. 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 I see now. So
So
this is
it's
this is what they're pulling in. But
interesting
they
because
didn't.
Freepik
But
did
this
something
isn't
that's
run
really
through an
cool.
LLM though, is it? Like this, they
No,
could have copied and pasted this in here, and then
that's the nice part is that you can do stuff like this where it's like a little bit more living, breathing sort of design space than just using the AI tools, right? So here, like for example, this can stay the same on every single piece of this can be like a workflow
yeah,
piece, right? Like this is the
yes,
finishing piece where it stays
that's
the
right.
same. You just import your copy guidelines, you run it to the LLM, you also run the 3 images to the LLM. It'll be like, okay, I'll read the 3 images or look at the 3 images and write 3 pieces of copy, right? So this is how like we have to start thinking about this
And
stuff because
these
you
are the
can do it.
pieces of it, Rory, that you want to spend a little bit extra time on to make sure you got something that's a banger, right? Because if you're going to use it time and time again, nothing against this. This is structured really, really well. But
Yeah.
it's like, I want to give it more than that for the hook.
Uh-huh.
I want to
Yeah.
talk a little bit more about what I'm looking for with the hook, and provide a little bit more like specific constraint and direction. But I like visually the way that this is
Yeah.
displayed. Like, because and again, we're just comparing, right? Like, we're not picking on it. We love all these tools, but like if you go in here, like it's just harder. This is just harder. It's just
Expect with
harder.
probably
Like same with
expect with Weavy going to Figma, it's going to be something more that looks like Freepik. I would assume.
yeah.
Freepik,
Like I'm
you
just
guys
I'm
win on
just saying
design so
like
far.
this display of it is really, really interesting. This feels like this whole thing feels like a creative brief, the way that
Yes.
it's laid out,
So
which I think is interesting. It's smart.
can you go into that LLM box that over there on the
This
assistant? I
one?
just want to see if you can write the last box over there. Can you
Oh,
switch the model? Let's see. I'm just interested if it's
oh, I
like
gotta
running
let me see. I think I have to change that. Let me bring this. Okay.
like can that be Claude instead of ChatGPT, or is it just GPT that we're using here?
Oh, I do want to do your tutorial, but not right now. Okay. So let's do. Let
Let's
me just
see.
kind of poke around here. Prompt, result, copy, export result, text,
Settings.
settings. Yep. So
There
you,
you go. Oh, I can use GPT-5. Okay.
okay.
And you can do
Dang, that's
system
weird though.
content,
Why
which is
don't?
good.
Is that surprising to you?
Kind of. Um, you know, that's also like the benefit of tools like Weavy and you know, they have all of them. You can go
You
and
used all
choose,
any of them? Yeah.
which is for copywriting. Like Claude to me is my go-to for if I want something that sounds more human, less, step into timeless style and effortless comfort, which is so chat GPT that I can't even like, you see it and you're just like chat GPT wrote that. But that's, like it's really pretty. Let's put it this way. Like it's really well designed. There's a lot of different things. That mood board one that you were looking at, like
Yeah.
that's all really really legit. Like I like how you can go in there and make it like a design piece and like share that. And I'm pretty sure it's collaborative in terms of workspace. I don't know if it is or not. That's just a guess. But like I can share that with a client. Like I don't even have to go and like externally design that. Like
Right.
that looks good, you know?
Right.
Like that's pretty done. And all that stuff's being added after the fact. That's not just like all generated. That text is added individually. Some of those boxes are added individually,
Sketch.
right? So I like this. So Freepik, well done on this one. I'll show you. Hold on, you want to see our t-shirts that we did last night in about
Yes.
2 seconds?
Yes. Please. Please. Guys,
This was done in.
I think we're getting close to merch. I think we're getting
Let's
close.
see.
I mean, I think like we're on to some things. We've got little cute stickers, cool. But I think like the wearables component is really what I have in mind when I'm thinking merch. And obviously,
Ah,
like
here
we
it is.
looked at Rory's thing last week with Dart and Scatabo, and just kind of putting that on a shirt, bringing it into real life, which was dope. And then Rory was messing around yesterday with some fast hour shirts. So
So I did this
I
in
thought,
2 seconds to respond to Drew's comment on X, and I was like, let's go back to the beginning here.
oh, bro, what is?
Well, I was like, let's get the base of the shirt right. This is the other thing that I want to mention about Freepik, which I really like, is that this sounds like a little tiny UX thing, but you can prompt within the node, right, which is great for just like doing one thing at a time, or
Ah,
you can prompt outside the node and bring the text in, right? So you can do
nice,
both. That's not something that's available on most because if you're doing
nice.
that, right, like it's a little thing, but it makes a difference. So this was let's see, that one it? No, this one was it. Let's go back one. There we go. So I was like, you know, Drew said, "Where's our T-shirt?" In terms of our design, and I was like, "Screw it, I'll make it in 5 seconds." So he's using Nano here, taking our two pictures, making it like a rap album cover. I should have put parental advisory on here now that I'm looking at it. Low
Oh,
angle. I know. Drop the T-shirt example from Hezbollah, and then we had this, and then Drew responded, "Hey, can we use our characters, like our caricatures?" And I was like, "All
hell
right,
yeah.
well, let's just run the whole thing over again, the same
Hell
exact
yeah. Look at
prompts."
that, dude. Look at
Right?
the black and whites even. I hadn't seen
I know they're
those.
cool. Like I like this. This one was
Oh,
funny.
you throw an explicit content parental advisory on there, it's over.
I need to. I should throw it on this
It's a wrap.
T-shirt, right? And then we're like, all right, cool. So we can run this stuff relatively easy. Right? Then I actually had it put it on us.
Dude, so sick. That's
It's so
oh my
dumb.
god.
But this one again, like this is I really like some of the things in here, right? Like I like again, like if I'm using image tools, right? Like I'm able to sort of branch reality here, which I like doing. I have like my standard image. I can use seed edit to get the close up. We can remove the person, and then we can get sort of keyframes, right? So we can always have this is what it's easy about doing stuff like this, which is nice because there's oftentimes too many things that are missing here. Like this is a perfect example, right? Like taking the image of the card here, but I want the car pulling up, right? So you remove the car with seed edit and then have it go in. But it's just so using keyframes and like it's so simple in tools like this to do that instead of downloading both, uploading to another platform. Like I can also just swap this if I don't like it. Keyframe, same thing here. Like to get like the perfect sort of like still shot of
Look at the
whatever.
smoke. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so.
Hey, I really love the color grading on that classroom school thing, man.
Oh, dude, that's all
Like go
That's
into
all Mystic. That's what we've been. But I'm prompting for that, right? So here's a fun one for everyone. Been using sort of sketches as storyboard images, like prompting sketches and like getting this sort of like shading and coloring, sort of how I want it in there, and then taking it into Mystic and then using structure reference to then animate it. But I'm also totally working on the color grading, like consistently sort
hey,
of
I want to go into
doing
that
that.
for a sec, Rory, because
Okay.
I don't like you were telling me about that before we jumped on. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody maybe doing that. I hadn't heard of that.
Uh,
When you're prompting for sketches, are you
mhm.
doing that in? Are you using Midjourney for that? I guess that's my first question.
No, I'll go to, I'm actually
Because
using,
I would love for you to like just kind of show that process. I think that's an interesting way because the way that you described it to me was, you know, you were able to get some things maybe mechanically or like physically that felt like maybe it would be much harder to do just by prompting for photorealism. So like, yeah, just maybe talk through that. I'm curious. Like,
I'm
talk me
pulling
through
it
that.
up now. So you guys, whenever you guys have, if you guys have seen my Weavy workflows before, you see the cleaned up version. This is the non cleaned up version. This is the chaos, right? This is where I'm doing like my workspace in here. So, like for example, wow, this is just you guys will get to see all the chaos. What I'm doing here for these prompts, right? I'm doing like a Stranger Things aesthetic, so I wanted to sort of get that to come through. But I'm doing storyboard sketch, cinematic composition, Stranger Things aesthetic, 90 nostalgia's film tone, soft graphite shading with selective color wash, dramatic lighting, film grain, whatever. This is what I'm using on every single prompt to create the sketch tone, right? And then it's just basically adding the prompt, like whatever's going on in there, right? So it's sort of like that's the one, and then I'm running it for the exact same, over and over and over again. But it's giving like this very consistent sort of like structure and style to the whole thing, which is what I like because this is, as you can, if I go through here, you'll see it's all pretty much exactly the same. And the character stays fairly consistent with the sketch. Like the car stays fairly consistent with the sketch. Um, but like this one, there's a few in here that I really like in terms of the car. Like if I get through, you know, like that one, like the sketch is
Yeah.
good because it provides good structure. Like the light is coming from the right direction. You have sort of the, if I was doing this in
Yeah.
black and white, I might not get sort of this, the halation and the refraction, right? And like the
Yeah.
reflection of the light on the smoke. So I was thinking about this. I'm like, oh, this provides like, instead of me going to like actually like recreate this image with the same prompt, let me go and use structure reference with Magnific or Mystic. So here's like a few tests that I ran with the other tools where I'm like, oh, let's use Reeve. What I'm doing here is, where's the prompt that I'm using? This one. Keep the image construction and characters. We're going to use a specific camera. We want to color grade it. The contrast. We want the color scheme. We want the lighting. Yeah, this is a little bit more detailed. But in running those, right, like I sent it to Reeve, which actually didn't do a bad job, right? Like went there, but it wasn't like visually memorable. That looks like way too desaturated for me. Seedream sort of brought it to life, and I was like, all right, cool. Not exactly photorealistic. Gemini didn't really do it that well, but then I ran it to Mystic, and I was like, yo, that just
Yeah.
totally
Yeah.
totally turned it. And these were sort of like the parameters I was working on. So you have to. This is if you're using just mid or Magnific specifically on their website, use the reference image of the sketch as a control image or the structure reference, and then is using control image strength, adherence, HDR, resolution. Like these are the sort of the settings if you guys want to screenshot these. But model realism, Magnific Sharpie, creative detailing around 33. But it was working for just about everything, which I was amped about because I would do like this one is a great example. This is one of my favorites. These two together, like that sketch to that right there, like picking up on the light, picking up on sort of the again like the atmospheric haze and the smoke, and then
Yeah.
picking that up
Structure's
on the
awesome.
ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. and it's really clean. Like I actually, I'll show you this. Where am I in? This is a good way to visualize how good this structure is because I wanted to just see it. Was like, all right, let's see how it goes. Like when it, oops, you can see it just transform. I'm like, all right, that's really good. Like from a structure reference standpoint, it's basically nailing it.
Yeah.
Changing the lighting, right? So that's I've been looking for something like this. I guess I've just been sort of missing on Mystic for structure reference and things. But yeah, dude, there's so much going on.
I mean, have you tried that in Midjourney? I mean, I know you can't do it in the node based, but
I did. It wasn't the same. Like it wasn't as clean as that. Like
yeah.
it was like overly saturated or like overly green, and like everything was green. Like it wasn't it's sort of the retexture would change the face, the retexture would change the clothes. So it was kind of like, but
Yeah.
yeah, but we just ripped on a bunch of stuff there. That
We
was
did
fun.
rip. And I know we're tight on like we got to wrap this
Yeah,
baby up. But yeah, man, I enjoyed this episode. Hopefully this was valuable for you guys too. I know a lot more people are starting to dip their toe in the water with the node based stuff. So, we even got a comment last week on one of the videos asking for it. If this is helpful too, I think there's a lot more we can go into here. And I think if this continues to kind of be that thing, right? Like we probably should go much deeper in on this. So let us know if you agree. In the meantime, Rory, I'm hoping maybe we get little bit of sprinkle updates from Midjourney between now and next Friday that we can play and experiment with and share with you guys on the next one. So
totally. Let's everyone, stay sane with your, with the introduction of everything that's going to happen over the next 2 months. Who knows? It's just going to be like rapid fire. So we'll try to keep it real here. We'll try to like put in the hard work for you guys, so you don't have to go crazy. We'll try to figure this stuff out for you. But if you're looking at any specific things like that, especially what we talked about today, drop in the comments. Right, node-based stuff, questions. If you want more of that, if you don't want more of that, Midjourney stuff, whatever your questions are, always leave them on the if you're still here, if you have questions, just leave it on there. We see it, we respond to
yeah.
it, and we'll answer it in the show too. So, don't be scared.
Also thinking we need a live edition soon, Rory. Maybe
Yeah,
we should do that next week. We should do
definitely.
that sometime November. We should do a live sesh. I think AMA would be good. We've got a lot of different requests, a lot of different questions, so maybe that's something we do
Yeah,
too.
let's
All right.
rock and roll.
Well, hey, good to see you, man. Good to see you
Good to see you too,
always.
dude.
I'm excited for next week, and we'll keep things rolling. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you guys in the next one.
See ya.